Updated for 2015, the Porsche Cayenne remains a sports car disguised as an SUV. It obviously has plenty of sport, but let's see how much utility got left behind. Now, typical of Porsche's updates, visual changes for the 15 Cayenne are pretty subtle. Things like the front grille here, some of the framework around it a little bit more vertical. Same you could say for the outboard portals versus last year's, which were a little bit more slanted, but really not all that much more. Now, there's a little bit more to differentiate the Cayenne in back, where the taillights are a little bit thinner in appearance. They don't quite envelop as much of the tail as the old Cayenne's taillights did. A little bit less cartoony, kind of a good evolution for the car, I think. Now, the Cayenne comes in a number of varieties, including our Cayenne Turbo here, which justifies its $114,000 plus price tag, with a twin turbo V8 that's good for 520 horsepower. Now, much more fun than any SUV deserves to be. You can really toss the Cayenne around in corners. There's outstanding grip from our test cars, Michelin Summer high performance tires. The steering is direct, it's slop free going into corners. There's very little body roll. If you turn the adaptive air suspension all the way over to its sportiest settings, body roll is just about non-existent. A little bit of nose heavy understeer at first, but not very difficult to reset the tail, get it out a little bit more on you with a little bit of extra throttle. You get back on a straightaway and this thing thunders up to speed. Porsche says 0 to 60 miles per hour, just over 4 seconds. That's actually about as quick as a Porsche 911 Carrera GTS, despite the fact that the Cayenne Turbo is about 1,600 pounds heavier. So tons of sportiness in the Cayenne, but just how much practical utility is there? Well, ride quality actually for what this is pretty decent overall, although there is a lot of suspension and kind of tire noise at higher speeds. Most editors agreed these seats also not very comfortable overall, just kind of too firm, a little bit overstuffed feeling. Now bear in mind though, there is at least one other type of seat you can get with smaller side bolsters. You look around here, visibility actually pretty good. Large side windows, large rear quarter windows lend a pretty decent setup for over the shoulder kind of looking around you. Storage, not such a good thing. Large door pockets here, but really very little storage here down the center tunnel. A very embarrassing center console here for an SUV. Cup holders that really allow travel mugs to kind of wander around a lot. Just a tiny little storage area up here. In this car, it's actually just an ashtray. Why is there not that much storage? Because of buttons. There's more buttons here than Mission Control might have. Everything from the climate controls to the radio dials to suspension settings, everything gets its own kind of unique button. Nothing really is put into kind of logical placement in terms of making for fewer buttons. The back seat, pretty well packaged there overall, but you put it down, there's a significant gap in the cargo room floor, and behind the rear seats, less than 25 cubic feet of overall cargo volume back there, a little bit small for a two-row SUV. That doesn't seem to have bothered shoppers one bit. They've propelled the Cayenne to become Porsche's best-selling model. Now, part of that comes from just the number of ways you can get the Cayenne. It starts around $60,000. If you check the impossibly long list of options, it can balloon to well over $200,000. If you're looking for the sportiest SUV possible, Porsche might have one here that's right up your alley. If you're looking for practicality and utility instead, you might want to look somewhere else, and you might save a little bit of money too.